Welcome to Booth Adventure Travel's YouTube channel. I'm Angela, your hostess. So today I'm going to talk to you about spraying your clothing before you go on safari. We spray all of our clothing with a Permethrin insect repellent spray before we go. We have found this really helpful. For years I did this, and then I kind of got out of the habit, and for 3 or 4 years I didn't. And my husband in particular, Kim, had real issues with the no-see-ums. Like he'd get a whole bunch of little bites around his midsection. That's the no-see-ums. So we went back to spraying all the clothing before we went. We usually spray the week before we go, and it's good for about 4 weeks, several washings, so that works for us. I do it even in the wintertime. I do it the week before we go. If I can't do it outside, I do it in the garage. So I set up either a long table or a drying rack like this. And then you can either put a towel on it, or I usually use just a piece of clothing as my base, so I'm not wasting any of my spray. Now they tell you that you have to get, I think it's 4 ounces of the spray on each piece of clothing. It's a 24-ounce bottle that we buy. This is a Sawyer brand. I get it from Amazon, and I'll put the link in the comments down below. But you don't have to get 4 ounces. I don't even know how you would know if you're getting 4 ounces on each piece of clothing. What you need to do is get it really nice and damp. And on most things, I do them inside and out. On socks, I do one side and then the other. So, little tip, always wear gloves. I also wear a mask when I do this, just so I'm not breathing in the fumes, especially because you're outside, if the wind would pick up, whatever. So, if I'm going to do the socks, I usually put down a base piece, so I'm not going to waste any of my spray. I lay out my socks, and then I'm going to spray this side of the socks really good, get them nice and wet, do a nice job of it. Then I'm going to flip them over, and I'm wearing gloves when I normally do this. I'm not doing it now because we have over 30 days before we go on our next safari. So I flip them over, and then I'm going to spray them really nice again. Make sure I get them all nice and covered. And then I'm going to take those and throw those either in a cardboard box or in a laundry basket, because those can just dry. And then I'm going to spray what I might have missed on that piece of clothing I had underneath. And then I'm going to turn that over and make sure I get the other side of it. Spray the whole thing. Then I always have hangers available. So I finished spraying this piece, is now thoroughly wetted, dampened, whatever. Making sure I got the cuffs, the armpits, around the middle, and the collar. And then I'm just going to hang that piece up, and I'm going to put out another layer of clothing. And then I will do the same thing. I'll spread that out nice. I'll make sure I get in the cuffs. I'll make sure that I get inside the waistband here. I'll do this side and spray it really well. Then I'm going to flip it over, and I'm going to do the back side real well as well. Then I'm going to hang those up. Either I move them down to another layer on the dry rack, or I hang them up as I go, and then move on to another piece. And I just keep going like that. So if I have any overspray, it's going to be going on other pieces of clothing too, so I'm not wasting anything. So I do all of our shirts, all of our pants, all of our socks. The only thing I don't do is underclothes, just for sensitivity reasons. I don't want to take a chance on having any issues, but I do everything else, including our sweatshirt, jacket, fleece, sweater, whatever we take for a warm layer. And I do the inside of our raincoat. I don't do the outside because I'm afraid of ruining the rainproof protection, but I do the inside of our raincoat. Then also I do our shoes. So I spray inside and around the top of the shoe and the opening of the shoe really well, just because that's another area where you can get a lot of bites. So that's basically it. It doesn't take me very long. It's well worth the effort. Like I said, we did it for years. We had very few insect problems. You see way fewer bugs in Africa most of the time than you think you will. We have a way worse mosquito problem here in Michigan. It's just that the mosquitoes there can carry malaria. So we want to be cautious and be aware and do all we can to keep ourselves from having an issue with the bugs. But we've really found that this helps. We've noticed a big difference between the years when we didn't do it and the years that we do. So there's all my tips on spraying. Make sure you do it in a well-ventilated area. Make sure you wear gloves. I like to wear a mask as well, so I know I'm not breathing any of that in. Cover everything so it's nice and damp. Doesn't have to be soaking wet. You don't have to worry about whether you're actually getting 4 ounces on each piece of clothing. That's ridiculous. You would have your stuff soaked, really soaked, if you did that. And you don't need to do that. You just get a nice dampness on the inside and the outside of every piece of clothing. Then let it air dry. I usually, in the wintertime, I have to hang it up in our bathroom. I hang it up on the shower curtain or on the shower rail, curtain rod. In the winter or summertime, I can just leave it out here and it can just dry out here on a rack until it's good to go, or a table, either way. So that basically is that. If you liked this video, please give us a like. I'd love to have you subscribe to the channel. If you have any other ideas of things you'd like us to cover or questions that you have, make sure you leave me a comment. I'd love to hear from you. Thanks.